Welcome to the Authentic Confidence with Ben Fauske podcast. Want to share a little bit about what this podcast is, how it came about, and thank you for joining us. Several years ago, I had a request to start a podcast and really started the process of thinking about why I would do that, what would be the purpose of that. And what was happening is people were saying, Ben, I love the Authentic Confidence work. I love the book. But we want to hear more from you. And I had no intentions of being in this social media podcast space. That's always been a struggle area for me. So I avoided it for a while. And I said, nah, it's just not something. I love coaching. I love teaching. I love communicating. I love working with teams. But really creating a podcast was just not something I was interested in. But over time, more and more people said, Ben, we'd love to hear more. We'd love to hear these stories. And I found that really the podcast is probably the most effective way to get those stories out. So here we are. Welcome. And what is this podcast? What are we going to do? And ultimately, the purpose of this podcast is to help leaders who are developing themselves and others. So human resource leaders, CEOs, executives, new leaders, people who are leading others for the first time. That's who we wanted to create this podcast for. And the goal is to help each leader on their individual leadership journey. What does it look like to find authentic confidence? Because we all know overconfidence repels, underconfidence stalls, and authentic confidence attracts. So confidence isn't like other attributes, leadership behaviors like listening or empathy, where more is always better. More confidence isn't always better. Yet if we lack it, there's some pretty serious, toxic situations that can happen when we become passive, as well as if we become too aggressive. So we want to help leaders find the authentic, appropriate version of confidence for themselves, and then how to implement that in the organizations that they serve. So that's why we created it. What we decided to do is, instead of sharing theory and models all day, we wanted to share stories of authentic confidence, stories of real leaders doing real things, leading their teams, leading their organizations, and their own stories. We're going to look at musicians. We're going to look at executives. We're going to look at educators. We're going to look at nonprofit leaders. We're going to look at all different types of leaders and their experiences, because I want every single person listening to know that chances are other leaders have experienced the same sorts of challenges you are. Now, I don't know your life. I don't know your situation. I don't know what you're struggling with. And I can't pretend to understand and empathize with all the dynamics that you have. However, what I can tell you is, when we hear other people's stories, we relate. Everyone has challenges. Everyone has struggles. Everyone has seemingly huge barriers in their life that they have to overcome. So this podcast is designed to listen and share these stories. I'm going to be bringing in guests, and hopefully you'll find them fascinating as I have. So the guests that we're going to bring in are some of my greatest friends. We're going to bring in psychologists. We're going to be bringing in people who have done this work. We've now assessed over 4,000 people on their confidence journey, and these assessments have helped us share these great stories. As I've met so many people that have such inspiring stories to share. So that's what we want to do. And how does it work for you? What does it mean for you? Every episode that we're going to have is going to be a new guest. They're going to be sharing their story. They're going to be sharing the arc of their confidence journey. And then we're going to finish with some very practical applications for you. So what does this mean for you? What's the lesson that we're learning today? Where are you on your confidence journey, and how can this podcast help you with your team, help you with yourself, help you influencing executives or leaders, influencing your clients, building the businesses that you want, producing the results that you want in your life? And I believe they're going to be rich with metaphors and examples of what you can do. And if it goes well, our goal is that we'll have thousands of people that will be continuing to enhance their own leadership journey, that they'll be learning from others, that they'll be reflecting on their own journey, and that we'll be able to use the processes and the assessments and all the tools that we have that we've used over the years to help people on their confidence journey. We're going to be offering many of those tools to you. I've been doing this now for almost 2 decades. And the experiences that we have in coaching, I've coached thousands of people, hundreds of people every year, and thousands of people over time on moving from a place of frustration and angst and anxiety and a screaming inner critic that tells them they're not enough into an empowered, powerful, successful, engaging leader that's inspiring others to do the same. So there's going to be lots of practical applications that we're going to finish and inspiring stories off the beginning. So can't wait for you to join the journey. And if you don't join us, my concern for you is I have an executive coach. I have someone that I meet with every month that helps me on my journey. And my concern is that it wasn't until I got someone to guide me and help me in my confidence journey, it wasn't until that moment that I really made the pivot into living the life that I wanted to live and building the career that I wanted to. So I really hope you join us, because these conversations are just going to help fill in some of the spaces of what it means and what it looks like to lead with authentic confidence, to develop confidence in others. And then the biggest benefit for many of you is it's going to teach you how to build confidence in your kids, in your spouse, in your coworkers, in your neighbors. I believe when we really find out what triggers our confidence issues and what triggers us to be at our worst, and when we can understand that and slow that process down and replace that with an empowering process and empowering beliefs about what we can become, I believe that confidence transformation is one of the most important journeys any of us can take with our lives. I've dedicated my life to it. I've put thousands of hours into helping people make this transition, and I can't wait to help you on your journey and to share the stories. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working on my own confidence evolution, and all I can tell you is it's worth it. We would love for you to join us. So thank you again for joining us on the Authentic Confidence with Ben Fauske podcast. This is the intro, and episode 1 will be coming soon. Thank you.